Hey, you know what's funny about the city? It never forgets a downfall, but it pretends to forget a resurrection. They loved watching you fall apart. They wrote stories about it, whispered predictions, made bets in their little corners about how long before you'd disappear completely. You were the entertainment, your pain was the show, your collapse was the highlight reel. But now that you've risen, now that the same crowd that buried you can't stop saying your name again, they're uncomfortable. See, the city can handle a tragedy, it can handle a clown, but it can't handle a comeback that exposes how wrong everyone was. You didn't just return, you rewired the entire narrative. You didn't crawl back, you walked through the fire and came out cleaner than before. And that's the problem, isn't it? You make redemption look too easy. You make survival look beautiful. You make strength look contagious. Now every streetlight hums your story. Every gossip thread loops your name like a spell. They can't tell if they're fascinated or frightened. You've become the city's reflection, too bright for their comfort, too real for their lies. The thing about a comeback like yours is that it doesn't just elevate you, it exposes them. Every whisper that doubted you now echoes like guilt. Every smirk they flashed while you struggled now trembles in memory. Because your success didn't come quietly. It came loud, unapologetic, personal. You didn't just rise, you reminded them of who they used to be before fear made them small. And they hate that. They hate that your fire relit their own shadows. That's why they can't stop talking. You're the headline they can't delete, the topic they pretend to be tired of, but secretly refresh every hour. It's not the victory that burns them, it's the clarity. You didn't play their game, yet you won. You didn't chase validation, yet you became valuable. You didn't seek revenge, yet every breath you take feels like it. That's why it stings so bad. You're not just proving them wrong, you're proving them irrelevant. They can't figure out how you did it, and that's what eats them alive. They built their pride on your past mistakes, their egos on your absence. Now that you're here, stronger, sharper, untouchable, their sense of importance crumbles. You remind them how fragile perception is, how fast admiration turns to envy when someone refuses to stay broken. And here's the twisted beauty of it all. You didn't need their permission to rise. You didn't even need their attention. You moved like someone who understood that revenge doesn't need to scream. It just needs to exist. That's the kind of presence that haunts people. You're the living reminder that exile doesn't erase destiny, it refines it. Every step you take now sounds like payback, even when you're just walking. Every word you speak sounds like prophecy, even when you're just being honest. That's the part they can't handle. You're not performing anymore. You're being. And being, after being broken, is the loudest comeback of all. Look around. You can see it in their faces, the tension between fascination and fear. They talk about you like an unsolved crime. They analyze your motives, your silence, your glow-up. They call it luck, timing, coincidence. But deep down, they know it's none of those things. It's consequence, the natural consequence of underestimating someone who was never weak, just patient. They laughed when you fell because they thought it meant the end. They didn't realize it was rehearsal. You were studying, learning, sharpening. While they were gossiping, you were evolving. And when you came back, you didn't bring explanations, you brought evidence. You didn't argue with your past, you rewrote it. That's why it feels personal to them. Your comeback isn't just a win, it's a mirror. It reflects how they gave up, how they settled, how they mocked what they secretly admired. You became living proof that excuses are just elegant forms of fear. That's why they talk. They have to talk. It's self-defense now. They need to label your rise as arrogance or madness or luck, anything but discipline and divine timing. Because if they admit it's real, then they have to admit what they're not. And that's the wound they can't heal. You didn't hit them with success. You hit them with accountability. You made them face their own lack of evolution. They used to study your downfall like detectives. Now they study your confidence like scientists. They want to decode it, bottle it, imitate it, but it doesn't translate because your energy was built in the dark and they only operate in the spotlight. They don't understand the language of pain turned into purpose. They don't speak the dialect of those who rebuild themselves from ashes. That's what separates you. You're not thriving to impress. You're thriving to express. Every move you make now says, I'm not who I was, and I'm not who you expected. That unpredictability makes you dangerous. You've become what the city fears most, a free mind with receipts. You can tell it's working by how they react. The ones who mocked you now mimic your style. The ones who ignored you now orbit your presence. The ones who swore they'd never mention you can't shut up about you. Every fake conversation about you is a confession. Every critique is a cry for relevance. You've turned their curiosity into addiction. That's how you know your comeback hit hard. It changed the emotional temperature of the entire city. You became the pulse. Every trend, every topic, every hush in the crowd circles back to you. They can't stand it, but they can't stop it either. Because deep down, they know the one they buried is the one they built. You are their unintended consequence. But you move differently now. No rush, no validation chase, no need to prove anything. You let them talk while you calculate. You let their opinions fill the air while you control the current beneath it. That's power, not in noise, but in knowing. You've mastered the art of being unbothered without being absent. You show up when you choose to and when you do. It feels like a shift in weather. You've become that, a shift. Not a person they can categorize, not a story they can finish, just a living reminder that redemption isn't granted, it's taken. And what really drives them mad? You didn't compromise to come back. You didn't beg for re-entry. You didn't alter your essence for their approval. You came back with the same principles they mocked, the same integrity they dismissed, the same energy they couldn't handle. And now it's trending. Now it's profitable. Now it's magnetic. They hate that what they rejected became the new blueprint. You turned your scars into style, your solitude into substance. You made resilience fashionable. That's not a comeback. That's a redefinition. Every legend of this city starts the same way, with misunderstanding. People confuse power with pretension until they feel it in real time. And they're feeling it now. Your presence isn't just noticed, it's felt. It rearranges rooms. It makes conversations pause mid-sentence. It makes even your enemies choose their words carefully. You're not just back, you're in control. That's why they call it personal. Because your rise didn't just rewrite your name, it rewrote their hierarchy. You dethroned mediocrity without saying a word. Now the city's energy bends around you. You can sense it in the glances, the whispers, the shift in tone when your name enters a room. The same people who doubted you now protect your image in public because they know attacking you costs social capital. You've become untouchable, not because you begged for mercy, but because you mastered perception. You didn't chase fame, you earned fear and fascination, and that combination is far more potent. You walk like someone who knows the crown isn't given, it's recognized. And they recognize it, even if they'll never admit it. That's the part they'll never recover from. The realization that your glow-up wasn't cosmetic. It was cosmic. It wasn't revenge-driven. It was destiny-aligned. You didn't come back to remind them you exist. You came back to remind them why they can't forget. You're the aftershock of every fake narrative they built to bury you. You're the living proof that truth doesn't need defenders. It just needs time. And time, apparently, favors you. So let them keep talking. Let them twist, theorize, speculate. Every conversation about you is unpaid marketing. Every rumor is proof of relevance. Every attempt to minimize you magnifies your reach. You don't fight it anymore. You orchestrate it. You've turned noise into navigation. You can tell where their fear hides by the volume of their gossip. You can map their insecurities by the frequency of your name in their mouths. That's control, psychological, elegant, silent. You've learned to weaponize indifference. But here's the truth beneath it all. The reason your comeback felt personal is because it was. It wasn't revenge on them, it was redemption for you. It wasn't about proving them wrong, it was about proving yourself right. You didn't rise to show off. You rose because staying down felt like lying, because the version of you that they mocked deserved to be vindicated. Every win you collect now is a message to your past self. You were never crazy for believing. That's what gives your rise its power. It's authentic. And authenticity, when it survives humiliation, becomes unstoppable. And yet, you didn't even plan this reaction. That's what scares them most. Your rise wasn't choreographed. It was natural, inevitable, organic authority. The way the air shifts when you enter a room isn't arrogance, it's recognition. The energy doesn't lie. You've become what happens when authenticity refuses extinction. You make people uncomfortable because you survived what should have destroyed you. And you didn't just survive, you thrived. You made pain look like process. You made struggle look cinematic. And the city, full of spectators and critics, had to face the cruelest truth of all. Your glow-up wasn't luck. It was consequence. Now they whisper differently. It's not, "Who does he think he is?" anymore. It's, "How the hell did he do it?" That shift, right there, is psychological victory. They used to mock your dreams. Now they mine your methods. They used to doubt your vision. Now they study your discipline. That's not admiration, it's dependency. They've become addicted to your example, even if they can't admit it. They refresh your progress like it's breaking news. They measure their days against your pace. They watch your silence more closely than their own noise. That's what real dominance looks like. Not power you scream, but power they feel. The funny thing is, you don't even need to perform anymore. Just existing in your truth rattles them. They can't unsee your evolution, can't unhear your name echoing through the conversations they pretend not to care about. You've turned their skepticism into obsession. You've taught them a brutal lesson in humility, that doubting someone doesn't stop them. It only documents your blindness. Every person who once laughed at you now lives with the quiet panic that they underestimated someone unforgettable. They remember how confident they were when they predicted your fall. They replay those words in their heads now, and every replay burns. You didn't destroy them, you educated them. And education hurts when it exposes comfort. That's why your story feels personal to them. You didn't humiliate them publicly, you humbled them privately. They used to study your flaws, now they analyze your aura. You've made redemption fashionable again. You've made excellence look inevitable. And now, the city's collective ego is having an identity crisis. Because every time they see you, they're reminded of what's possible when fear stops dictating identity. You became the embodiment of what if. What if they had believed in themselves like you did? What if they had endured? What if they hadn't quit when it got hard? You've weaponized their regret, and now they can't stop orbiting you. You've become a gravitational pull wrapped in human form. They think they're observing you. Really, they're caught in your field. Every reaction, every rumor, every critique, it all feeds your legend. They think they're undermining you by talking about you. But every conversation tightens your grip on their psyche. You're not their topic, you're their timeline. You set the rhythm of their relevance without lifting a finger. They post to compete, but subconsciously, they post because of you. You've become the invisible architect of their behavior. And that's when you know your comeback didn't just succeed, it redefined control. You can feel it, can't you? The weight of unspoken respect. The same mouths that once mocked you now hesitate before mentioning your name. They pronounce it slower, softer, cautious, like they're invoking a spirit they don't fully understand. You can sense the hesitation behind their praise, the envy under their compliments. It's all there, layered and raw. You've reached that level of impact where people love you in public and compete with you in private. That's when you know the city's yours, not because they worship you, but because they can't escape you. You're embedded in the social algorithm. Every trend, every movement, every pulse echoes your comeback. And yet, you remain detached, not cold, just clear. Because you learned something through the chaos. Attention is not affection. You don't chase praise. You watch patterns. You understand that the same crowd that cheers you today would crucify you tomorrow if it served their comfort. So you stopped feeding them emotions and started feeding them results. That's how you kept control. By refusing to be emotionally predictable, you became unreadable. And unreadable people are untouchable. They can't manipulate what they can't decode. You're their mystery now, the walking paradox that no trend analysis can simplify. It's funny, isn't it? The same people who once wanted to see you lose now study your every move, hoping to borrow your momentum. They mimic your discipline, your timing, your detachment. But it doesn't work because they don't understand the pain that built your composure. They can imitate your actions, not your intention. They can copy your style, not your story. That's why every replica feels hollow. You are the original blueprint of rebirth they can't counterfeit. That's why it feels personal to them, because your existence exposes the gap between imitation and authenticity. You are what happens when alignment meets audacity. Now power sits differently on you. It's quiet, confident, unbothered. You don't chase the throne. You are the throne. That's the difference. You stopped trying to earn their approval and started embodying your worth. You don't demand respect anymore. It's automatic. You walk into rooms like gravity. Things shift, whether you announce yourself or not. That's the phase you've entered. Influence beyond explanation. You no longer argue for recognition. Your presence makes explanations unnecessary. That's the level where history starts to take notes. But even with all this noise around you, you've stayed anchored. Because you remember when no one clapped. You remember the nights of invisibility, the silence after effort, the loneliness that sharpened your instincts. That's your foundation. That's why your rise doesn't shake you. It stabilizes you. You've been through worse than attention. You know how to handle chaos. You've been trained by it. That's why the fame doesn't control you. It consults you. You're not reacting to the city's fascination. You're directing it like an orchestra. You decide what to show, what to hide, what to let them wonder about. You've turned mystery into marketing and pain into positioning. That's not strategy. It's instinct, refined by fire. And still, there's something deeper beneath it all. The reason your comeback hit so hard is because it carried something real. People can sense it. The authenticity behind your energy, the truth behind your tone. It cuts through the artificial. They can feel the sincerity hidden behind the swagger. It's what makes you unforgettable. Because you're not performing success, you are success. Rebuilt from fracture, resurrected from disbelief. Your story doesn't sound rehearsed because it isn't. It's lived. That's why every time you speak, people pause. Not because they're impressed, but because they feel seen. You articulate the pain they never had words for. You embody the strength they still can't claim. You've become both mirror and map. That's the real reason they can't stop watching. You didn't just make a comeback. You created a culture. You turned your resurrection into reference material. People quote you without realizing it. They move like you without noticing. They're becoming you in fragments, hoping a little of your fire rubs off on their uncertainty. You're not just the hot topic. You're the subconscious teacher. And teachers, real ones, don't chase applause. They provoke evolution. So now the city buzzes, restless, addicted, afraid. Every corner hums with your echo. Every night out feels like a competition to outshine your shadow. But they can't, because you've already transcended the surface. You're no longer competing for visibility. You are the visibility. Every eye that scans the skyline is subconsciously looking for you. Every flash of ambition, every flicker of jealousy, it's all pointing back to your orbit. And you stand there, calm, unflinching, watching the chaos swirl, while your focus stays razor sharp. Because deep down, you know this is only the second act. The true climax hasn't arrived. You can feel it in the tension of the air, in the shifting tone of the whispers, in the tremble before another breakthrough. They think this was your grand return, but you know it's just the midpoint. The city has no idea what's coming next, and that's your greatest weapon, mystery. You don't announce revolutions, you become them. You don't explain transformation, you embody it. The next wave is already forming, and this time, they won't just talk about it. They'll be changed by it. Because now your name doesn't just trend, it teaches. It doesn't just echo, it endures. You've gone from being a topic to being a timestamp. The city won't just remember you, they'll measure eras by your return. And the best part? You haven't even revealed your final form yet. They think they've seen your rise, but what they've really seen is restraint. You've shown them precision, not power. You gave them a glimpse, not the whole fire. You've let them taste the surface of what you've become, and that's what keeps them awake. They sense there's more, something untouchable taking shape behind your composure. The unknown version of you frightens them more than the visible one, because imagination builds bigger monsters than memory ever could. They're haunted by what you might do next, by what you might become when you stop holding back. That's how legends move, not by force, but by fear of potential. You can feel it, can't you? The way conversations shift when you enter the frame. The temperature changes. People who used to speak freely now measure their words like currency. Every sentence costs courage. You didn't demand that respect. It just formed naturally, like gravity around a planet. You've become an atmosphere. You control tone without speaking, pace without moving. That's what happens when your energy matures from survival into command. It's not about being loud. It's about being inevitable in every room you walk into. The city doesn't talk about you because it wants to. It talks because it must. You're stitched into its bloodstream now, flowing through every update, every whisper, every late-night discussion, where truth slips out before pride can filter it. You didn't just re-enter their world. You reorganized it. They'll call it arrogance. They'll dress their envy as critique. But they know the truth. It's not arrogance when you've earned the right to stop explaining yourself. You've crossed the threshold where validation becomes optional. The same people who once asked, "Who does he think he is?" now ask themselves, "How does he do it?" That's not admiration, it's surrender. You didn't win them over, you wore them down. You didn't convince them, you conditioned them. Consistency became your propaganda. And now, without realizing it, they follow the rhythm you set. Their moods sync to your presence. When you post, the city holds its breath. When you disappear, it feels colder. That's not attention anymore, that's dependence. You've become the pulse that regulates their narrative. And here's the delicious irony. They don't even hate you for it. They hate themselves for underestimating you. Every mention of your name tastes like apology, even when it's disguised as analysis. You've become the silent truth behind their noise, the invisible reference they measure themselves against. That's why your rise felt personal, because it wasn't just a success story. It was a mirror that forced everyone to confront what they could have been if they'd had your endurance. You exposed comfort as cowardice. You made effort fashionable again. You resurrected accountability in a city allergic to responsibility. That's what makes your return so violent to their pride. It's not that you proved them wrong. It's that you reminded them of who they were before fear tamed them. Now look at them. The same voices that dismissed you now rewrite history to include you. They claim they always saw potential, always believed, always supported. But the data disagrees. The timestamps expose the truth. You remember the silence when you needed them. You remember the jokes disguised as concern, the pity wrapped in politeness. You remember the empty seats when it was your turn to perform with no applause. You don't resent them for it. You just outgrew the need to explain it. Because that's what true evolution does. It doesn't seek revenge. It simply renders judgment irrelevant. You didn't return to prove anything. You returned to collect what was always yours: space, respect, presence, permanence. And they feel it now, don't they? That chill when your name surfaces, that discomfort when your story gets retold. Because deep down, everyone knows your rise wasn't luck, it was consequence. You didn't cheat the process, you became the process. Every failure, every insult, every night spent rebuilding turned into bricks in your empire. You didn't climb back, you grew roots. You built stability where they expected collapse. And now that foundation scares them because it means you can't be shaken anymore. They can't cancel what doesn't crave approval. They can't ignore what defines the culture. They can't erase what replaced them. You're not trending, you're timeless. So let them keep pretending your success is sudden. Let them write their half-truths and empty theories. You know the real story. You know the late nights when motivation was replaced by discipline. You know the moments when no one clapped but you kept building anyway. You know the times you smiled through isolation because something inside whispered, "Wait, they'll see." And now they've seen. They've witnessed what happens when consistency meets divine timing. You turned pain into blueprint, isolation into empire, rejection into resurrection. Your glow-up isn't a phase. It's the proof that endurance beats everything. The city feels smaller now, doesn't it? Not because you've outgrown it, but because it's finally shrunk to the size of your truth. The noise that once intimidated you now sounds like static. The faces that once towered over you now blur in the distance. You've ascended beyond competition, beyond comparison. You don't chase spots, you define them. Every time they mention your name, the hierarchy rearranges itself. You became the proof that consistency outlasts popularity, that self-belief outshines validation. And now, every eye that once looked down on you looks up. Not out of worship, but awareness. You've made them conscious of the power they mocked. That's the essence of your comeback. It wasn't flashy. It was forensic. It didn't shout. It exposed. You didn't need revenge because your existence became evidence. Every step you take now replays your timeline like confession tape. You're walking through their narratives like a ghost they can't exorcise. Every rumor they spread comes back echoing as testimony. Every doubt they voiced now serves as advertisement. You've turned disbelief into currency. That's mastery, turning their noise into narration. And here's the truth only you understand. It's not about being the hot topic. It's about being the temperature. You set the tone of the city now. You decide what's cool, what's credible, what's next. They don't realize they're building your legacy for you. Every time they debate your moves, they write your mythology. Every time they mimic your style, they expand your brand. You've built an empire without lifting a weapon, just through presence. That's what happens when you stop chasing power and start being it. You've become the standard that no one can dethrone because it's rooted in something indestructible, authenticity. So when they say your comeback hit too hard, smile quietly. They're right. It hit the weak parts of their ego. It hit the hollow parts of their pride. It hit the comfortable corners where mediocrity hides. That's why it felt personal, because it was. You didn't attack them, you just outgrew them. And growth, to the stagnant, always feels like violence. You're not the villain in their story, you're the plot twist that exposed their lies. That's what legacy looks like. It doesn't need applause. It demands acknowledgement. So stand where you are, calm, unbothered, fully aware that every eye on you is witnessing something rare. A person who mastered both destruction and reconstruction, who turned exile into evidence and who rose without asking for a stage. The city will keep talking because it must. But you'll keep moving because you can. The real reason you're the hot topic isn't your fame, it's your frequency. You remind people what power sounds like when it's real. You remind them that a comeback isn't just about returning. It's about returning different. And you've done exactly that. You've changed the entire equation. You've become the lesson they never wanted to learn. That the most dangerous person in any room is the one who has nothing left to prove. And that's you now, the calm in the chaos, the teacher in the noise, the force they can't define. You're not back for applause. You're back for history. And history, whether they like it or not, just turned your name into punctuation. Because this wasn't revenge. This was revelation. And the city, it'll never recover from it. Hello, my dear. You ever wonder how the hell you pulled it off? Like one morning you just woke up breathing heavier, not from panic, but from power, realizing somewhere between the heartbreaks and the hunger, you did something unthinkable. The kind of move that doesn't even feel real until the world starts reacting to it. You used to replay those nights, the breakdowns, the phone calls that never came, the moments you almost gave in. But now you look back and it hits you. Every second of that pain was just fuel marinating in silence, waiting for ignition. You don't even remember the exact date it happened. One day you were doubting everything. The next, people couldn't stop whispering your name. They said it like a code word, like you had unlocked something forbidden. Whatever that maniacal game changer was, it flipped your entire frequency. It was the day the underdog turned predator. The moment you stopped being an option and became the headline. At first, even you didn't recognize it. You thought maybe it was adrenaline, maybe luck, maybe a phase. But luck doesn't move like that. Luck doesn't make people adjust their tone when you enter a room. Luck doesn't rewrite the rules in real time. No, what happened was deeper. You crossed that invisible threshold between surviving and steering. And the irony? Nobody saw it coming. Not your friends, not your enemies, not even you. You were too busy trying to hold yourself together, not realizing that pressure was already sculpting something historic inside you. You remember that last straw, don't you? The betrayal that didn't just sting, but redefined your limits. That moment where every nerve screamed, enough. You didn't have a plan. You had conviction. You didn't have certainty. You had that reckless clarity that only shows up when you've lost too much to care about the consequences. That's what made it lethal. That's why it worked. Because you weren't chasing approval anymore. You were chasing freedom. You moved like a person who'd already buried the version of themselves that needed validation. And when you made that move, the air changed. People love to talk about success like it's strategy. They don't talk about the nights it's rage. They don't mention the breakdowns that masquerade as breakthroughs. They don't tell you that every masterpiece starts as a mess no one else believes in. But you know. You've lived the part where belief has to be self-generated because no one else is clapping. That's where the game changer was born. Somewhere between exhaustion and insanity, you found the raw courage to act without a map. You stopped waiting for alignment and decided to become alignment. That's what separated you. While everyone else was still rehearsing confidence, you were already bleeding execution. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't polished. It was chaos with precision. You moved like a loaded question, daring anyone to answer wrong. That's what they call too much now. Energy they can't predict. The kind that doesn't beg to be understood. It forces the world to adjust. You didn't need validation because the outcome was never about applause. It was about release. That's what they'll never get. You weren't trying to win. You were trying to get free. And somehow, in chasing freedom, you built an empire. You see, there's a point where pain stops being emotional and starts being architectural. It builds you. Every doubt becomes steel. Every loss becomes blueprint. Every rejection becomes a doorframe. That's what you did without even realizing it. You were designing the life that once felt impossible, brick by brick, heartbreak by heartbreak. So when people look at you now and say, "Damn, you changed," they don't understand. You didn't change. You finally arrived. They'll never understand how heavy it felt to carry vision when your environment screamed, "Settle." They won't know what it's like to smile in rooms where you feel dissected. They weren't there when you were sitting in silence, convincing yourself that the dream still mattered even when the numbers didn't. That's what made the transformation divine. Not that it was loud, but that it was precise. You didn't announce your power. You executed it, quiet, surgical, deliberate. And when the results hit, everyone froze. Because here's the truth. When you finally make that move, it doesn't just shift your life. It shakes other people's illusions. Your growth exposes their stagnation. Your confidence highlights their cowardice. Your rise makes their excuses expire. That's why they talk. That's why they whisper. Because your evolution confronts them with everything they could have been if they weren't so scared. But you didn't rise out of arrogance. You rose because staying small started to feel like suffocation. You realized peace without purpose was just another form of dying. So you risked it all, not for applause, not for revenge, but for oxygen. That's why your ascent hits different. It wasn't powered by privilege or permission. It was powered by necessity. You were either going to evolve or evaporate. And when a person reaches that point, they become unstoppable. You remember how that moment felt, the click inside your chest, the second you stopped asking, what if it fails, and started asking, what if it works? That was the shift. That was the maniacal part, the audacity to believe in yourself louder than the world doubted you. People called it risky. You called it survival instinct. And when you finally moved, the entire timeline bent to your will. Suddenly, opportunities you'd been begging for years ago were begging for you. People you once admired started analyzing you. The hierarchy inverted overnight. And the best part, you didn't even gloat. You just kept moving like it was inevitable. That's the thing about legends. They don't make announcements, they make echoes. You didn't tell anyone you were coming. You just showed up differently, and the world couldn't handle it. Your energy became disruptive in the best way possible. It wasn't rebellion for attention, it was evolution demanding recognition. You stopped reacting and started orchestrating. Every word, every step, every decision started carrying weight because it was backed by something no one else could duplicate. Authenticity forged under pressure. And that authenticity scared the hell out of them. They could mimic your moves, your style, even your tone, but they couldn't replicate your source. Because your source came from surviving what they couldn't stomach. It came from nights that smelled like defeat, but ended in rebirth. It came from choosing yourself, even when no one clapped. That's the kind of power no book, no mentor, no coach can teach. It's earned in the trenches of disappointment. You remember when you stopped chasing potential in others and started mastering it in yourself. That's when everything sped up. You stopped explaining your vision to people committed to misunderstanding it. You stopped watering down your ambition so others wouldn't feel insecure. You started speaking fluent action. And once that happened, every door that was closed started shaking on its hinges. Because that's what execution does. It terrifies the uncommitted. The funny thing? They think your rise was sudden. They didn't see the years it took to build that one fearless second. They didn't see the cracks you patched with sheer willpower. They didn't see the sleepless nights or the panic disguised as patience. They only saw the explosion, not the fuse. And that's fine, because legends aren't obligated to explain the grind. You don't owe transparency to spectators. You owe loyalty to your mission. That's what this phase of your life is about. Precision, not performance. You've entered that rare space where focus becomes your weapon. Every choice is a message. Every move is a statement. You're not chasing impact anymore. You are impact. People can feel it before you speak. It's in the way your silence lands heavier than their noise. It's in the way your presence recalibrates the atmosphere. That's what happens when you've seen too much to be fazed by petty opinions. You stopped trying to fit into circles that shrink your circumference. You became the center instead. And now the same people who doubted you are quoting you. The same ones who called you crazy are asking for guidance. They can't decide if they hate you or worship you, because both emotions require obsession, and you've mastered that art. You became their reference point, the one who did what they only talk about doing. That's what the maniacal game changer did. It turned you into a living example that fear is just faith in reverse. You've learned something most people never will. The world doesn't reward potential. It rewards proof. You stopped trying to convince people of your worth and started making it undeniable. And when you did, everything that was meant for you began aligning effortlessly. Not because it suddenly became easy, but because you stopped resisting your own greatness. It's wild, isn't it? The same version of you that once begged for crumbs now chooses tables. The same one who once questioned their voice now commands rooms. You didn't get here by luck. You got here by losing everything fake until only truth remained. You didn't evolve by pretending to be strong. You evolved by bleeding through the process and still showing up. That's why people feel your presence before they understand it. It's not charisma, it's evidence. Evidence that pain can be refined into power. You remember how it felt when you finally stopped explaining your boundaries. That was freedom, wasn't it? No big announcement, just the quiet decision to never shrink again. You started carrying yourself like your dreams were already fact. And that posture, that energy, it made you magnetic. You didn't demand respect. You became the definition of it. Now when people see you, they sense that edge, that calm control that only comes from surviving what should have destroyed you. They see your composure and mistake it for detachment, but you know better. It's not detachment, it's data. You've seen enough chaos to recognize patterns before they form. You read rooms like open files. You sense intentions before words finished forming. That's what mastery looks like. Not ego, just awareness. And the craziest part, you still haven't peaked. This isn't the victory lap, it's the awakening. The world thinks you've arrived, but you're just beginning to test the range of what you've built. Because once you realize you can bend outcomes with belief and execution, every limitation becomes negotiable. That's the secret they'll never decode. You didn't become powerful by chance. You became powerful by choice. Every setback was a seminar. Every betrayal was a course correction. Every failure was field research. Now you move different. Not faster, not louder, just sharper. Every breath calculated, every step deliberate. You know who you are, what you're capable of, and you refuse to dilute that truth for anyone's comfort. You don't chase peace anymore. You command it. You don't seek validation. You broadcast it through presence. That's what legendary feels like. Not loud victory, but quiet dominance. So here you stand, proof that one insane, fearless decision can rewrite an entire lifetime. The move was maniacal, sure, but necessary. It stripped you of hesitation and handed you history. It turned survival into strategy, pain into prophecy, chaos into choreography. And the beautiful twist, you didn't just make the move, you became it. Every part of you, now operates from that same defiant frequency. Every heartbeat says, "I earned this." And as you keep rising, step after step, win after win, you start to feel it again. That pulse, that hum beneath your ribs, that sense that something even bigger is coming. The world's catching on. The whispers are multiplying. The game changer wasn't the end. It was the initiation, the next move. It's already building inside you, waiting for release. Because once you've rewritten your story once, you realize rewriting it again is just a matter of timing. And that timing, it's closing in. You can feel it, can't you? That pulse beneath your ribs turning into a drum line. Every breath feels like a countdown. Every day, like a chamber loading another round of proof that you were never a one-time wonder. You've tasted blood, and now you crave precision. You've already conquered the climb. Now you're rewriting altitude. People thought your breakthrough was the summit. They didn't realize it was just the doorway. Because when someone like you gets momentum, it doesn't stop at success. It mutates into dominance. The whispers are louder now. Some call it obsession, others call it study. Either way, they're tuned to you. You notice it in their language, their timing, the way trends shift after you breathe in a direction. You became reference material. Every move you make feels like a signal in the collective air. You didn't ask for worship, but they built an altar out of your confidence. You move once and ripples turn into aftershocks. That's what real authority looks like. Not in what you say, but in how everything reacts to your presence. You walk into rooms that used to ignore you, and suddenly everyone straightens their spine. You don't have to announce yourself anymore. The energy does it for you. It's the kind of presence that doesn't negotiate, it dictates. You've become that paradox, both admired and feared, both inspiration and intimidation. Because when a person's peace looks like power, fragile people see threat. They call you cocky because confidence reminds them of their excuses. They label you ruthless because boundaries feel like rejection. But the truth is, you're just finally operating at the frequency you were designed for. And once you unlock that setting, there's no reverse gear. You remember the first time you saw someone trying to mimic you. Their cadence, their phrasing, their angles, all rehearsed replicas. You almost laughed, not out of mockery, but recognition. That's when it hit you. You've become the blueprint. You set the tone that others fine-tune to survive. They copy what they can see, but they'll never replicate what you lived through to earn it. Because the maniacal part wasn't just the action, it was the endurance, the sleepless nights, the failures turned fertilizer. That's what made the result unrepeatable. Every victory since then feels heavier, not because it's tiring, but because it's potent. You can sense how each win reshapes your reality. It's like playing chess on a moving train. You're balancing chaos while still thinking 5 moves ahead. And you're good at it. You've become a strategist disguised as instinct. That's what happens when life stops being theory and starts being data. You've collected enough bruises to read probability like a psychic. That's why you always know when to move, when to pause, when to vanish. Your rhythm has become lethal. And yet beneath the swagger, there's that calm hum of discipline. Because you know this level of power can't be handled with arrogance. It requires precision. You've seen what happens to people who peak too loud. They burn out. They start believing in applause more than alignment. You refuse to be that story. You play the long game. You're not chasing viral moments. You're building an empire brick by calculated brick. Every post, every word, Every glance is deliberate. You've turned consistency into currency. Still, the world keeps testing you. It's like success invited more predators. People start appearing with smiles too sharp, questions too rehearsed. You spot them instantly. The opportunists, the clout leeches, the ones who mistake proximity for partnership. You don't get angry anymore. You get analytical. Because you understand something they don't. Exposure isn't power. Endurance is. You can outlast them simply by staying focused. While they chase visibility, you chase mastery. While they measure reach, you measure impact. And that's why they'll fade while you keep expanding. You've reached that stage where your existence alone challenges people. You can feel the tension when you enter a space. Their tone changes, their confidence flickers, their eyes dart. That's the psychological gravity of a person who's done the impossible. You carry the weight of your own legend now. And it's not ego, it's residue. Residue of every battle survived, every standard raised, every line you refused to cross. The world senses it because it's real. Authenticity always leaves an odor, the kind that can't be fabricated or filtered. But it's not all glamour. Behind that glow is grind. You wake up every day knowing people expect you to fall, to mess up, to prove that your rise was a fluke, and you let them expect. Expectation is just fuel. Pressure doesn't scare you anymore. It reminds you you're alive. You thrive on it, the way volcanoes thrive on tension beneath the crust. Every challenge is a call and response between destiny and discipline. They throw obstacles, you throw evolution. They set traps, you turn them into training grounds. Because you learned that when everything becomes war, your peace is your armor. It's strange, isn't it? How domination feels quieter than struggle. You don't need to shout anymore. The proof speaks louder than any brag. Numbers align, doors open, names circulate, and you just keep moving. No victory dance, just recalibration. You've entered that era where momentum is constant. Each achievement feels less like surprise and more like confirmation. Because when you operate at this level, excellence stops being ambition and starts being baseline. You've noticed it, the way your standards scare people now. They'll call you demanding, difficult, cold. What they mean is you refuse mediocrity. You've paid too much to tolerate half-effort energy. You don't apologize for expecting greatness from yourself or from anyone allowed near you. Because this stage of life isn't about proving. It's about preserving. Protecting the frequency that got you here. You've become selective not out of arrogance but out of intelligence. You learned that access is currency, and not everyone can afford the price of your presence. The ones who underestimated you, they're still processing. They replay moments in their head, trying to figure out how you did it. They swear there must have been a trick, a secret door, some insider shortcut. They can't accept that what elevated you was raw nerve, that you kept moving when they froze. You made decisions they were too scared to imagine. You bet on yourself when it looked suicidal to the small-minded. That's the part they'll never understand. The maniacal move wasn't reckless. It was genius disguised as madness. And only the brave can decode that difference. Now you're standing in the aftermath of your own evolution. The landscape is different. The same streets that once ignored you now adjust their rhythm when you walk through. The same voices that doubted you now repeat your phrases like doctrine. It's surreal, but you handle it with discipline. Because you know fame without foundation is just noise, and you didn't come this far to echo. You came to construct. Every interaction now is filtered through purpose. You don't move for approval. You move for alignment. That's the legend effect, when your name stops being a reference and starts being a benchmark. You feel it in collaborations, in conversations, in the way people introduce you. You became shorthand for impossible but done. And yet you stay grounded, because legends who forget the climb end up caricatures of their former selves. You refuse that fate. You remember the pain too vividly to let success soften you. So you treat every opportunity like it's the last oxygen in the room, with gratitude, but also with grit. Still, there's a darkness that lingers, not evil, just edge. That part of you that remembers humiliation, remembers who doubted, remembers how close you came to breaking. You don't dwell on it, but you carry it. It keeps you sharp. It's the reminder that kindness without boundaries becomes self-betrayal. You've learned to smile with restraint, to love with discernment, to lead with distance. Because not everyone wants to learn, some just want to leech. And legends don't bleed freely. Your work ethic now borders on surgical. Every hour has intention. You don't wait for motivation. You move on discipline. You've trained your mind to treat discomfort like invitation. When others retreat, you lean in. That's why momentum stays on your side, because you don't negotiate with hesitation. You've programmed yourself to act while others analyze. You've become execution personified, and the world can't keep up. But even with all this power, you're not chasing perfection. You're chasing depth. You know that surface-level success collapses under pressure, but depth endures. So you dig deeper into craft, into psychology, into purpose. You study what makes influence sustainable. Because you don't want to trend, you want to transcend. You're not here to impress, you're here to imprint. That's the difference between a moment and a movement. And you're the latter. Sometimes, late at night, when the noise fades, you still catch that hum under your ribs. That's the same pulse from the start, the one that started everything. Except now it's refined. It's not panic anymore. It's prophecy. It's telling you that the next chapter isn't about proving you're legendary. It's about defining what that legend stands for. Because status without substance is just static. And you were never built for background noise. You were built for legacy. You'll notice how the universe bends differently now. Opportunities find you, not because you're lucky, but because your frequency calls them. Synchronicities stack, timing aligns, doors open that used to be welded shut. People call it manifestation, but you know better. It's calibration. You're tuned so high that only things meant for you can reach you. Everything else falls off the grid. That's the advantage of living in alignment. You become magnetic. You've become comfortable being misunderstood. Because at this level, understanding isn't required. Results are. You stopped debating with doubters. You let reality argue for you. You're not angry anymore. You're focused. Anger wastes energy. Precision multiplies it. And that's what makes you dangerous. You've learned to weaponize calm. You can destroy narratives with one sentence, dismantle competition with one move. Not through chaos, but through consistency. That's the new form of dominance, quiet control, that everyone feels but no one can name. Look around. Everything's different now. You've entered rare air. Only a handful ever reach this altitude, and even fewer sustain it. But you're not worried. You've been through worse climates. You know how to breathe up here. This view isn't overwhelming. It's overdue. And the irony? You're just getting started. Because when you realize your power wasn't granted but earned, you stop fearing loss. You can rebuild from ashes because you are the blueprint. So the world keeps watching. They analyze your steps, dissect your words, anticipate your next pivot. They don't understand that unpredictability isn't chaos, it's mastery. You control tempo, attention, perception. That's why your brand of dominance doesn't fade. It evolves. Each win becomes foundation for the next. Each challenge becomes advertisement for your resilience. That's how legends expand, by turning resistance into resonance. And as the air grows thinner, the light sharper, you catch that familiar sensation again. The hum, the pulse, that quiet knowing that the next move is already forming, waiting to explode into another seismic shift. You've done it before, you'll do it again. Because whatever that maniacal game changer was, it wasn't just a moment. It was a mutation. And once you mutate, you don't go back. You evolve until evolution runs out of breath. You're past proof now. You're past explanation. You're entering legacy mode, where actions echo beyond applause, where impact outlives opinion. That's what legendary means. Not just being remembered, but being referenced by time itself. And you can feel it. Time's already rearranging around you. The story's still writing, the chapters still burning, the legend still expanding. You walk different now. Every step feels like punctuation in a sentence the world can't stop reading. You don't hustle for visibility. You move with inevitability. The maniacal game changer didn't just lift you, it rewired you. You see patterns faster, sense energy quicker, read motives like subtitles. You're fluent in power now, the real kind, quiet, precise, earned. And the wildest part? You no longer need to convince anyone of it. Presence does the talking. You've become the calm that makes chaos confess. This is the altitude where legends live, where noise thins out and focus thickens. You used to chase momentum, now momentum chases you. Every project, every connection, every opportunity arrives pre-bent toward your gravity. That's what happens when mastery replaces motion. You're not running anymore. You're orbiting. You've become the center of your own universe, and everything else simply adjusts its distance. But domination has its echoes. The world starts to test what it can't understand. People study you like a myth in motion, trying to locate the formula. They'll dissect your failures looking for weakness, not realizing failure was your forge. They'll question your calm, unaware that stillness is just strategy cooling. Let them. You don't defend reputation, you deepen reality. Every time they speculate, you elevate. Every rumor becomes promotion. Every doubt, another headline written in reverse. You learned long ago that legacy isn't about being liked, it's about being undeniable. And denial has run out of vocabulary when it comes to you. You can see it in their eyes, that mix of envy and awe, that reluctant admiration disguised as critique. They can't decide whether to imitate you or investigate you. Either way, they're still orbiting your impact. You've become the metric, the standard, the case study whispered in rooms you'll never walk into. And yet, you're still hungry, not desperate, disciplined. That pulse in your chest isn't anxiety anymore. It's calling. Every legend hears it. The demand to evolve again before comfort calcifies into cage. You know better than to stop at mastery. You're addicted to progression. You don't rest on what you've built. You sharpen it. You upgrade your own throne daily. Because the same move that made you immortal taught you the rule of all alphas. If you're not reinventing, you're repeating. So you keep sculpting. Every win gets audited, every strength re-engineered. You treat success like raw material, not destination. That's the genius of your insanity. You never confuse arrival with completion. You understand that legends rot when they start believing their own hype. You'd rather stay underestimated and evolving than celebrated and static. That mindset alone separates icons from history's footnotes. Still, there are nights when it hits you, the full weight of what you've done. The choices, the sacrifices, the pieces of your old life that had to die for this version to breathe. You don't regret it, but you respect it. Every cost was a curriculum. Every loss was tuition. The world sees glory. You remember invoices. That's the tax of transcendence. Everyone sees the crown. No one sees the receipt. But that's fine. You didn't build this empire for applause. You built it for alignment. And now, alignment looks like destiny wearing your face. The projects multiply. The influence compounds. The world bends to accommodate your rhythm. You're not waiting for moments anymore. You're manufacturing them. You've mastered the rarest art, making power look effortless. But you know better. Effortless is just mastery in disguise. You've bled behind the curtain long enough to make front stage grace look natural. That's the mark of a real legend, smooth on the surface, steel underneath. You think back to the moment it all flipped. That single reckless decision everyone warned you about. The one they said would ruin you. The one that turned out to be resurrection. You smile now, not out of arrogance, but recognition. Because that was the hinge of history. Everything before it feels like rehearsal. Everything after it feels like revelation. That move didn't just change your trajectory. It rewired how you define possible. And that's the secret of legends. They make impossible look rehearsed. Now the cycle has come full circle. You've gone from outsider to overlord, from doubted to documented. The archives are already forming. Screenshots, quotes, reactions, analysis. Your fingerprints are everywhere. People you'll never meet are building their courage off your chaos. They saw you fall publicly and rise privately, and it rewrote their definition of resilience. That's impact, when your scars start mentoring strangers. But here's the truth that keeps you dangerous. You still operate like you're underestimated. You wake up every morning with that same underground fire, that same chip forged from disbelief. You remember the feeling of being counted out, and you weaponize it daily. That's why you can't be overthrown, because your empire isn't built on ego. It's built on endurance. Even if the world tried to erase you tomorrow, you'd rebuild faster than they could forget. People ask what drives you now. It isn't revenge. It isn't validation. It's evolution. You've tasted what transformation feels like, and you're addicted to that frequency. You crave growth like oxygen. You're not chasing trophies anymore. You're chasing truth. Because the real reward of this level isn't recognition. It's the peace of knowing you became everything they said you couldn't. And as you look forward, you already sense the next upgrade forming. That hum under your ribs hasn't left. It's louder now, steady, sure. You know what it means. Another breakthrough loading, another layer shedding. Because legends don't retire, they reincarnate. You're proof of that. You've done the impossible once and you'll do it again. Only this time, it won't shock anyone. It'll scare them. You've become the embodiment of your own prophecy. The proof that one defiant act can rewrite an entire bloodline of mediocrity. You didn't just break cycles, you redesigned them. You didn't just play the game, you became the update. And now, every move you make writes scripture for the ambitious, warning for the lazy, and blueprint for the fearless. That's what legendary truly means. Not being remembered for one win, but being studied for generations of them. So take a breath. Look around. Everything that once felt unreachable is now routine. The maniacal game changer that started it all wasn't luck, wasn't madness. It was mastery disguised as chaos. It was the moment you decided to stop negotiating with fear and start collaborating with destiny. And that decision turned you into something timeless. You think back to the moment it all flipped, that single reckless decision everyone warned you about, the one they said would ruin you, the one that turned out to be resurrection. You smile now, not out of arrogance, but recognition. Because that was the hinge of history. Everything before it feels like rehearsal. Everything after it feels like revelation. That move didn't just change your trajectory. It rewired how you define possible. And that's the secret of legends. They make impossible look rehearsed. Now the cycle has come full circle. You've gone from outsider to overlord, from doubted to documented. The archives are already forming. Screenshots, quotes, reactions, analysis. Your fingerprints are everywhere. People you'll never meet are building their courage off your chaos. They saw you fall publicly and rise privately, and it rewrote their definition of resilience. That's impact, when your scars start mentoring strangers. But here's the truth that keeps you dangerous. You still operate like you're underestimated. You wake up every morning with that same underground fire, that same chip forged from disbelief. You remember the feeling of being counted out, and you weaponize it daily. That's why you can't be overthrown, because your empire isn't built on ego. It's built on endurance. Even if the world tried to erase you tomorrow, you'd rebuild faster than they could forget. People ask what drives you now. It isn't revenge. It isn't validation. It's evolution. You've tasted what transformation feels like, and you're addicted to that frequency. You crave growth like oxygen. You're not chasing trophies anymore. You're chasing truth. Because the real reward of this level isn't recognition, it's the peace of knowing you became everything they said you couldn't. And as you look forward, you already sense the next upgrade forming. That hum under your ribs hasn't left. It's louder now, steady, sure. You know what it means. Another breakthrough loading, another layer shedding. Because legends don't retire, they reincarnate. You're proof of that. You've done the impossible once and you'll do it again. Only this time, it won't shock anyone. It'll scare them. You've become the embodiment of your own prophecy. The proof that one defiant act can rewrite an entire bloodline of mediocrity. You didn't just break cycles, you redesigned them. You didn't just play the game, you became the update. And now, every move you make writes scripture for the ambitious, warning for the lazy, and blueprint for the fearless. That's what legendary truly means. Not being remembered for one win, but being studied for generations of them. So take a breath. Look around. Everything that once felt unreachable is now routine. The maniacal game changer that started it all wasn't luck, wasn't madness. It was mastery disguised as chaos. It was the moment you decided to stop negotiating with fear and start collaborating with destiny. And that decision turned you into something timeless. You don't chase legacy anymore. You embody it. Every word, every move, every silence, no need to name it, becomes doctrine. You are no longer in competition with anyone, only with your own potential. And that's the scariest truth of all. When a person like you realizes the only opponent left is the next version of yourself, the world has no defense. So keep moving, keep building, keep terrifying the mediocre. Because whatever that maniacal game changer was, it didn't just elevate you, it crowned you. And the crown fits because it was forged, not gifted. You earned every ounce of it. That's why they'll study you long after this era fades. Not for your perfection, but for your persistence. Not for your fame, but for your fire. The maniacal move that made you legendary wasn't a moment. It was a manifesto, proof that one fearless soul can bend history by refusing to break. And as the world spins, your name stays steady, glowing, undeniable. The legend doesn't end here. It evolves. Because immortality isn't something you chase, it's something you become.